Hey everyone, I wanted to go over another study with you. This was published in Environmental Health and Preventative Medicine this year. And it was a dose-response relationship between daily screen time and risk of low back pain in children and adolescents. And so this was a meta-analysis. So when we're looking at research, there's different levels and significance that we assign different research. So you have animal-controlled trials. Then what's slightly more important than that is human-controlled trials. Then what you have that's more important than that is what's called meta-analyses, where they look at a bunch of different studies that looked at the same stuff, pull all their data together, and you can draw stronger conclusions. So the results of a meta-analysis mean more clinically and for utilization than does individual studies, because you can find individual studies proving a lot of different things that don't really hold true. So in this one, they were pulling together 9 different studies. They were looking at age ranges 11 to 19. They're looking at low back pain risk and screen time across computers, TV, phones, tablets, any kind of device with a screen was included in it. And so they ended up looking at data from 57,831 different individuals. And when they compiled all the data together and ran their statistical analysis, they found what is called a linear dose-response relationship, meaning the more screen time increased, the more the low back pain increased at a linear or proportional rate. That they found for about every hour increased of screen time, you had an 8.2% increased risk of low back pain. So at 1 hour it's 8.2, 2 hours the risk goes up to 16.4, at 3 hours you're looking at 24.6, and so on and so forth. And so basically the study is summed up as the more time you spend on a screen, the more likely you're going to have low back pain, which is kind of intuitive. Now, this included all screen time in a day. The important part about that is the screens are being used more and more and more in the educational setting, which is good because kids are getting early exposure to things like coding and different things like that. But when you're looking at your kids, you have to consider that they might have already got a couple hours of screen time at school, so now they're home. If you give them a couple more, all of a sudden instead of getting 2 hours, they're at 4 or up to 5. So it's something that you have to consider is it's total screen time in a day, not in one setting. So if they watched an hour while eating breakfast in the morning, 2 hours at school, another 2 in the evening, they're at 5 hours in a day. And in your head, you only think, oh, they only had a little bit. So you have to think it's total time on a screen in 24 hours. So that is this study. Pretty straightforward, makes a lot of sense when you sit down and think about it. So use it to your best knowledge. Take care.